My parents treated me like a housekeeper. The day before Christmas, Mom grinned slyly. Your sister's friends are joining us for the holiday. It's just 35 guests. She assumed I'd prepare meals, tidy up, and serve. I gave a faint smile. That evening, I boarded a plane to Paris for a getaway. When they arrived and saw the bare kitchen, her face went ashen. But the real shock was yet to unfold. My name is Daniel. I'm 28, the eldest of two, the one who fixes the copier, scrubs the baking dish, and tracks the garbage pickup schedule. I work front desk at a hotel, managing bookings, events, and seating arrangements. I like checklists with boxes to mark, cabinets that shut properly, and receipts that align with my purchases. My parents call me reliable. To me, I'm the one keeping things running while others bask in the glow. My sister Leela is 24. She's the sparkle. Artistic, dreamy, destined for greatness. She sends texts full of exclamation marks and never fully plugs in her charger. We grew up in a noisy, cramped house where helping meant I did the work, and family meant I covered the costs. Leela always had a crowd. I always had a rag. As kids, when Mom hosted, I arranged plates and cleaned smudges off the fridge while Leela tried on dresses in our parents' bedroom and swept in at the last moment for applause. When I got my first job, Dad billed me $150 for living at home. When Leela started working, Mom said, "Focus on your passion." December is hectic at the hotel. We handle a dozen corporate events and 2 charity dinners. My December is a grid of color-coded tasks, with breaks scribbled in like a punchline. This year, I marked one day, December 24th, as mine. I'd saved 3 PTO days for the first time ever. I craved stillness. I wanted to wake up without a to-do list. The day before Christmas, I stopped by my parents' house with a box of pastries from the hotel's bakery. Mom was in the kitchen wearing her "hosting is my workout" hoodie. Dad had a football game on silent. Leela lounged on the sofa, feet curled under her, scrolling. Mom greeted me with that cheery voice she uses when she's already planned my role. "Perfect timing," she said. "Your sister's friends are coming for Christmas, just 35 people." I chuckled because sometimes a laugh is all you've got when you're caught off guard. 35. Leela grinned without looking up. "It's basically my entire creative circle plus their dates," she said. "Atmosphere." Mom pulled out a large baking tray. "We'll set up stations," she said. "Appetizer spread, meat carving, sweets. You can map out the schedule, me?" I said as if I were a bystander in this discussion. "Of course you," Dad said, eyes glued to the TV. "You're great at this." Mom started rattling off tasks. "We need extra chairs, more ice, a vegetarian dish. You'll handle the turkey, ham, salmon, check with your hotel about borrowing warmers. Leela needs a non-alcoholic drink station, and there's a gluten-free guest, maybe 2, Leela added, still scrolling. Mom gave me that knowing smirk. "Don't worry," she said. "Grown men don't need gifts. They need to step up." Dad, still watching the screen, chimed in, "Get ready for responsibility, son. You've got 24 hours. My lips curved into that small smile I use when I want to say no, but the room demands yes. The kitchen gleamed. The counter was spotless. The tray clanged like a gong when Mom set it down. I glanced at the fridge, where a sticky note read "menu" with a blank space beneath it like a challenge. I felt a checklist forming in my mind, uninvited. 35, I repeated, just Mom said. Leela snapped a photo of the empty counter like she was starting a cooking vlog. "Holiday vibes," she said. I placed the pastries on the counter. I took a quiet breath, hoping it went unnoticed. And I said softly, "Understood." I didn't argue, not there, not yet. I walked to the sink, turned on the tap, and watched the water steam. The faucet whispered like it held a confidence. The spark wasn't a yell, it was that smirk. It was just 35. It was my name already scrawled on a blank menu in a house I didn't call home. I dried my hands on a towel that always smells of citrus cleaner and tucked the pastries in the cupboard. Nobody asked what I wanted for Christmas. They never do. Someone should have. My hotel job title is Assistant Event Coordinator. In my family, it translates to unpaid worker with a grin. It began small. At 12, I arranged appetizers because you've got steady hands. By 16, I was barbecuing for 20 because you've got a knack for timing. By 20, I knew where Mom stored the spare linens and how to stabilize a wobbly folding table. "You're a natural," Mom would say, like she'd invented me. Money always came with a new label. Dad called it duty when he took $150 from my part-time wages for household expenses. Mom called it pitching in when she added me to the family phone plan and forgot to switch back to her card after I paid for 2 months. Leela called it vibes when she texted, "Can you cover $83? The world will repay you." The world never did. Some moments stick like old TV episodes. In high school, my graduation party was merged with Leela's art showcase. I set up lights, hauled ice, and was told to shift my cake to make space for her spotlight. When I got a promotion at the hotel, I brought wine. Mom reached past it and said, "Great, now you can buy those new dining chairs." We did. I paid. Dad said a man provides like chairs were a pop quiz I hadn't studied for. The family group chat is a task hub. Daniel, can you grab Aunt Ray at 4? Daniel, grocery run? Daniel, table for 12. I learned to reply with a thumbs up or silence. When I didn't answer, Mom would text, "Don't be distant," and then call my hotel, just dropping by, and ask my boss to pass along a reminder about our big family event. My boss would smile kindly and deliver the note like it was a rose with a spike. Leela glided through it all like a feather. She half-started 3 ventures and fully launched none. Candle line, brunch pop-ups, a podcast that was mostly vision boards. She got a leased car as a gift because safety, and cried when Dad said she had to cover insurance. "It's unfair," she said. I watched Dad turn unfair into a tale about how the world misunderstands artists. He told me to make space. Space for what? For who? For the version of my sister that only exists in hashtags. Last Christmas, I cooked for 18 because Grandma can't anymore. I made a grocery list, paid for extras that became standard, and cut my finger when the sharp knife met a bad angle. Mom wiped the blood with a cloth and said, "You good?" She didn't pause. None of us did. We served at 5. In March, Leela threw a vision breakfast for 12 and used my hotel discount to rent warmers. "You can deliver them," she said. "You know how to set them up." After she posted a photo with my hands in the shot and wrote, "Thankful for support." I got 2 texts from strangers asking if I catered. I replied no and got a third from Mom. We could turn this into a business. April brought the rent talk. "Stop wasting cash," Dad said. "Move home. Save." He said save like it meant the same to everyone. Our house had 1 bathroom and 3 people who never knocked. I stayed in my 1 bedroom with creaky floors and quiet I paid for. I swallowed their disapproval like a dry pill. Summer was packed at the hotel. Every weekend brought a couple with candle displays and a DJ who thought loudness was romance. I banked overtime and bought a suitcase. I started a folder called Away. Images, lists, costs, not because I despised my family. Because I wanted to know what it felt like to be in a place where no one knew my surname. By autumn, Mom's requests shifted from "can you" to "you will." She sent a spreadsheet titled Holiday Plan. The first line wasn't "who's coming." It was "menu, Daniel, under budget." She wrote, "We'll talk. That means you'll pay and we'll forget." Then came the just 35. Leela's friends, Leela's crowd, people with names like River and Luna and Sage, and one guy who goes by letters. Mom listed a dream board like a vision with a pulse. "It'll look amazing," she said. "We'll need rented chairs, 35, linens, 7 extra plates you can borrow from the hotel. No one will care." I said they will. She brushed it off. "It's the season." Dad added, "We need a special drink. You make those, right? Not too sweet. Use the fancy ice. And you might as well do the grocery run. Your card earns rewards." Leela chimed in. "No dairy, no soy, no nuts, no peppers, but make it warm." I looked at them and saw the pattern. Me at dawn, roasting 2 birds, chopping vegetables, texting staff for a spare heater. Me with a timer in one hand, a spoon in the other. Me at 10 p.m. dragging out garbage while Leela filmed a What a Night post, and Mom said, "We pulled it off." Then Mom added the final touch. "And you'll pay the tent deposit today," she said, like I controlled the weather. "It's only $900 to reserve." "Only," Dad repeated. He pulled that word out like a tool and sharpened it. "Who's paying me back?" I asked. The room went silent like I'd sworn. Mom recovered first. "Don't be so calculating," she said. "It's tacky." "This is family." Dad added, "We're giving you a task. Be thankful." Thankful for what? Being a worker in my own family? I swallowed. I nodded. I nodded because that's what I do when my mind screams and my mouth wants to stay quiet. That night, I opened the Away folder and stared at a photo of a gray street with a patisserie on the corner and a blue gate. I looked until my tension eased. I didn't tell anyone about that folder. It wasn't a secret. It was a limit that hadn't found its voice yet. The meeting came the next morning because Mom loves a meeting. She had a printed schedule with checkboxes and a title, Holiday Rundown. Dad used his team leader voice. Leela had her phone on selfie mode, ready for candid shots. We sat at the kitchen table. The baking tray shone from the counter like a prize I didn't want. Mom began, "Okay, Daniel, you'll shop tonight. 2 turkeys, 1 ham, salmon for the fish eaters, veggie spread for the plant-based folks. We'll set up the rented chairs at noon tomorrow. You can grab them at 9 a.m. and no," I said. It wasn't loud. It was clear. 3 heads turned. Leela's phone paused. Mom blinked, smile frozen like a glitch. What? No, I repeated, I'm not catering your event. Dad leaned back. Mind your tone, this is my tone, I said, steady. Leela laughed, the sharp kind. You're kidding, she said. I'm not, I said, I'm not your cook, I'm not your planner, I'm not your rental service. I'm your son, I'm Leela's brother. Mom's voice turned sugary. Honey, we're family, we show up, I said. I've shown up for years. I've shown up with my hands and my wallet. Dad's jaw tightened. A man provides, I finished. I know, I've heard that since I was 15. Here's mine. A man sets boundaries. I'm not cooking Christmas for 35 of Leela's friends. I'm not paying deposits. I'm not borrowing warmers. I'm not risking my job for your event. Leela glared, so we just cancel? You'll humiliate me. No, I said, you'll host your event with your own means. Daniel. Mom snapped, real voice now, sharp-edged. Don't ruin the holiday. I met her gaze. I'm not ruining it. I'm opting out of being your worker. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Utensils rattled. We won't be disrespected in our home. I stood, my legs felt like mine. Then respect me in your home. Mom reached for the final lever. After all we've done for you. I nodded. I know, you raised me, you fed me. And since 16, I paid you $150 a month for the privilege. I added you to my phone plan. I covered groceries when your card failed. I ran your events. I drove grandma to appointments. I love you. I'm done being your unpaid worker. Leela's voice turned whiny. You're envious, she said. People like me. I like you, I said. I don't like being used. Dad's face flushed. If you leave, don't come back tomorrow. You're barred from Christmas. Barred. Like I was a kid asking for the car keys. I looked at Leela's phone lens, dark and flat. I looked at Mom's schedule. I looked at the baking tray. This isn't about vengeance, I said. This is about moving on. They stared. The words sat on the table like a glass no one wanted to touch. What's that supposed to mean? Leela snapped. It means I'm done with the role you assigned me, I said. You can be mad, you can host. You can cancel, I'm not your fix. Mom stood. If you leave, you're selfish. If I stay, I'm a servant, I said. I choose selfish. Dad pointed at the door. Go then, okay, I said. I didn't slam anything. I walked to the hall. I grabbed my jacket. I took the pastries I'd brought because I knew they'd be repurposed without asking. Leela muttered something with my name in it like a hex. Mom said he'll come back. I turned at the door. Grandma said, I said, I've booked her taxi for Christmas morning and a lunch reservation for 2 at noon. She won't be here either way. 2. Mom snapped. With who? With whoever shows up for her, I said. You're welcome to join. Dad scoffed. We have guests. I know, I said. I stepped into the cold, closed the door softly, and turned my phone to airplane mode in the driveway. The sky was that clear winter blue that makes everything feel true. I sat in my car and watched my breath dissolve. This time, leaving wasn't a tempest. It was a gate that shut properly on the first try. I didn't rant to my phone. I acted. At home, I opened my laptop and the away folder. At the top was a confirmation email from 3 weeks ago, like a quiet nod. Round trip to Paris, red-eye flight at 11:45 p.m., returning on the 28th. Hotel booked with points. I'd saved all year. Cash tips in a tin, extra hours, homemade lunches. The ticket was my gift to myself. I hadn't told anyone because in my family, news gets drafted into the group chat before it's yours. I checked in, I chose a window seat. I printed the boarding pass because paper soothes me. Phone back on. 12 missed calls, 3 from Mom, 2 from Dad, 7 from Leela. The texts came in a flood. Mom, you're being ridiculous, Dad. Grow up, Lila, you're destroying my event. Mom, we'll talk at 6, be here, Dad, no debate, I didn't go at 6. I packed a carry-on with 3 sweaters, 2 pairs of jeans, socks, a book, my passport, a list of patisseries I wanted to visit. I fed my neighbor's cat, prearranged, texted her a photo, and left a spare key for watering my plant. At 7:03, Mom called, I let it ring. At 7:05, Dad called, I let it ring. At 7:12, Leela in all caps. Everyone is depending on you. I sent 1 text. I'm not hosting your event. At 8:40, I called a cab to the airport. At 9:10, I set my phone to do not disturb for everyone except Grandma and the airline. At 9:45, a notification. Leela tagged you in an Instagram story. I didn't open it. At 10:02, an email from the tent rental company. Hi Daniel, confirming your tentative hold. Please pay the deposit by 8 p.m. to secure. I replied, please cancel. I won't be paying or collecting. I CC'd Mom. At 10:10, Mom replied, are you ill? At 10:15, the rental company replied, canceled as requested. At 10:27, I called Grandma. I'm going away for a few days, I said. Your taxi is at 11 a.m. on the 25th. Lunch is at noon. Order number is 48,271. They know you prefer the window seat. She laughed. You've always been sharp, she said. Go see something you like. At 11:45, takeoff, phone in airplane mode. The city shrank like a conversation I didn't need to resolve. I slept poorly and perfectly at once. I woke over a patchwork of fields and thought I reclaimed my time. When I turned my phone on after landing, it erupted. 39 missed calls, 112 texts. A new group chat named Crisis Now. The messages read like a screenplay. By the time the first guests arrived at my parents' house, the kitchen was still empty. Counters bare, oven cold, nothing ready. Mom's grin faded. Her face paled as she realized no meal was waiting. Only a crowd expecting service. 5:10 p.m. Mom, where are you? 5:12 p.m. Lila. We need the church hall keys. 5:15 p.m. Dad, answer your phone. 5:21 p.m. Mom, the turkey's still frozen. 5:30 p.m. Lila. You're ruining my image. 5:37 p.m. Mom, Daniel, step up. 5:41 p.m. Dad, we won't forget this. 6 o'clock p.m. Unknown, this is Sage. Is there quinoa? 6:02 p.m. Mom, well, respond. 6:14 p.m. Lila. I told everyone you're having a breakdown. 6:21 p.m. Mom, your aunt's coming. 6:33 p.m. Mom, where's the good salt? 6:34 p.m. Lila. We need ice. 6:35 p.m. Mom, we need ice. 6:40 p.m. Dad, obstinate. 6:46 p.m. Mom, we found rice. 6:52 p.m. Lila, our oven's slow. 7:10 p.m. Mom, guests are here. Message after message confirmed the same truth. The kitchen they expected me to stock stayed empty, and every missing dish sparked another frantic text. 7:14 p.m. Mom, where's the carving knife? I stared at that one for a moment and set my phone on the small hotel desk. Outside, a street moved like a calm thought. I put on a coat and found a patisserie mentioned in 5 blog posts as simple but solid. The line was quick. The woman handed me a bag and said something I didn't understand. I said merci, the only word I had. Back in my room, another wave. 7:30 p.m. Lila. There's no mocktail. 7:32 p.m. Mom. The gluten-free guest brought bread. 7:40 p.m. Dad, we're out of plates. 7:41 p.m. Mom. Where's the good salt? I typed my kitchen doesn't have the good salt. I took it home months ago, deleted it. Better not to open the door. At 8:12 p.m. a single text from Grandma, taxi booked. Thank you. At 9:03 p.m. the tone changed. Mom, you're barred from New Year's until you apologize. Dad, you owe us. Lila, you're done to me. Done from what? The unpaid job I've held in their lives. I ate warm bread and fell asleep at 9:40 like someone who hadn't rested in weeks. Morning, Christmas, quiet streets. Gray sky, a church bell from somewhere I didn't belong. I made coffee that tasted like a scorched thought and walked by a river. No one knew me. No one asked for ice. At noon, Grandma sent a photo, her in a paper crown from a Christmas cracker by a window with roasted chicken and potatoes. Next to her, Aunt Ray, same crown, smiling. Caption, nice, warm. I grinned until my face ached. Afternoon, I took stock like I do after events. But this time, it was my inventory, family plan. I logged in, paid the balance, set a split for the cycle's end. My line only. I texted Mom and Leela links to transfer their lines by the 31st. Streaming, changed passwords, logged out all devices. Wholesale club. Removed the household add-on. Grocery app. Cleared saved addresses except mine. Removed my card, bank. Moved savings to a new account with 2-factor login and a name no one knows. Credit. Froze with all 3 bureaus. Pins in a place my family never looks. Mail. Set up delivery alerts and a hold for 5 days. House keys. The spare I gave Mom last year vanished. I booked a locksmith for the 29th. New locks, new codes. I wasn't punishing. I was tidying. I was shutting off the faucets only I had opened. At 2:40 p.m., Mom tried soft. We can start fresh after the holiday, she wrote. Just say you overreacted. I replied, I'm not going back to being your worker. She sent one word. Ungrateful. At 3:12 p.m., Leela posted a story of people in festive sweaters in our parents' living room, eating something like rice with cranberry sauce. Caption, we made it happen. Good, they should learn how. At 5 p.m., Dad said the real thing. Home equity, he wrote. We need to discuss using your savings for family needs. You're being selfish. I set my phone face down and stared at the hotel's patterned wallpaper until the room steadied. Then I wrote 3 sentences. I'm not your emergency fund. I'll help Grandma directly. Everything else is no. He replied, we won't forget this. Me neither. On the 26th, I sat in a cafe and checked my email. An offer from our European partner hotel. 3-month assignment starting late January. Housing included, stipend, a chance to learn their operations. I'd applied in October at 2 a.m. thinking it was a fantasy. HR sent the offer on the 23rd. I hadn't noticed. I accepted. Start date January 23rd. Paris, not a vacation. Work, a door I picked. I texted my landlord from my room. Notice given. I messaged Mike from work. Can you store 2 boxes? He replied with a thumbs up and a question. You good? I wrote better than good. On the 27th, I flew home. At baggage claim, my phone caught a final batch. Mom, you're really doing this? Dad, Paris, immature, Lila. No one will help me move in January. Grandma, bring me a magnet. I pocketed my phone and smiled. A magnet I could manage. Back at my apartment, I made a list and taped it to the fridge. Exit. 1 column for accounts, 1 for dates, 1 for done. I started ticking boxes. The real surprise wasn't Paris. It was that the part of me they relied on, quiet, useful, always there, didn't return with me. January cooled things off. People tire of shouting. Mom tried once more with, we can fix this if you sign a family contract. I answered no. Dad sent a link to a storage unit and wrote, we need space at your place. I replied, my lease ends the 20th. Leela texted, last chance to support my project. I sent a screenshot of my calendar with a tiny plain icon. I moved in small steps. 2 boxes to Mike. 1 suitcase to my parents' doorstep for Grandma. Paris magnet wool scarf, a note with my new number and my waking hours in her time zone. I rang the bell and left before Mom could answer. On my last night in my apartment, I cooked pasta and ate on the floor because the chairs were gone. I wrote a list on a sticky note and tucked it in my passport. I will help Grandma directly. I will not cause emotions. I will not be the family's unpaid worker. I will not call control love. I will answer when I mean yes. I will say no without explanations. At the airport, my phone buzzed. Mom, are you proud of yourself? I wrote, I'm proud I stopped pretending. She sent to who? I wrote to myself. In Paris, my room is small, the radiator hums, and the window shows a sliver of sky. I walk to work. I count dogs on the way. I learn how the elevators here hesitate before moving. I make coffee on a hot plate and toast bread until it's nearly charred because that's how I like it. I answer when Grandma calls. I send her photos of bridges and pigeons. I ignore the group chat until it quiets itself. People keep asking for a lesson. I don't have one for everyone. I have one for me. I didn't escape. I shut the door I'd held open for years because I thought that's what good sons do. The party happened without me. Good, it should. It's theirs, so is the cleanup. I'm not a housekeeper. I'm not a bank. I'm not a prop for other people's holidays. My name is Daniel. I'm 28. I booked the trip. I took it. I took the job. I took my life back in small, mundane, lasting ways. When I return someday, I'll bring Grandma another magnet. I'll bring myself to a house where the kitchen stays empty until I choose to cook. And if someone says, just 35, I'll smile and say the smallest, clearest word I own. No.